everybody. We are back in our reading journal. And I gotta admit, I'm playing a little bit of catch up. Let me get you guys in screen here. March was a little bit of a wild ride for me. So, yeah. There you have it. Let's see here. For March, I know it's April, but for March, we read, I think this was February. Oh, so March we read, what did we read in March? We read Let's Call Her Barbie. Well, that's when we had to flip back. So this was February. And then we read What the Chicken Knows. And then we read, which I'm doing the page today, for The Locked Door by Freida McFadden. So I only read 3 books in March. The Locked Door, What the Chicken Knows, and Let's Call Her Barbie. Yep, I did read that in March. So let's go back to our wonky upside down page and see if we can fill some of this in. I feel like I'm behind on this, but maybe not. So my favorite for March is going to have to be Let's Call Her Barbie. And then we get to do our bracket. I just finished up March Madness. We do a little competition at work, and so I've totally got brackets on my brain. My team won. My team. I only cheer for them during March Madness. I don't know much about basketball, but anywho, I had Florida as my winner for March Madness, and they won. But the way that they do it at work, I didn't win in points, so I didn't get to have the trophy on my desk for the next year. But anywho, all that to be said, let's look at our bracket for the best of 2025. So we can, I guess we can go ahead and pick, for the first quarter, out of these 3, The Women by Kristen Hanna. Let's do this. Let's just kind of take a gander, an upside down gander. We read The Women by Kristen Hanna. And then we read Love and Other Words for the second month. This was a cute story. And then we read Let's Call Her Barbie for March was our favorite. So I'm gonna go with Kristen Hanna's The Women. Gosh, that was such a good book. Such a good book. So that's our first quarter winnings. So now we're moving into April. We'll see where that goes. So let's clip this back because it's wonky and upside down. My archetype study, I'm doing okay with it. So my plan for March was to read Women Who Run with Wolves. And I have the paper book. I was going to read it, but there's my, speaking of Elizabeth Gilbert. I was speaking of her earlier. She's floating around on my desk. Anywho, I need to put her away before she gets lost. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Women Who Run with Wolves, I have the book, and I was going to read it. And I found it on audiobook, and I thought, I'll just read it audiobook. That would save me a little bit of time. And the audiobook was only like 2.5 hours long, which, if you know anything about that book, that's a big, in-depth book. So I don't know that the audiobook that I had was the audiobook that it needed to be. So we are failing miserably at reading the books that we had planned to read. Something comes up with them, like A Year to Yes. I already read that one. Women Who Run with Wolves, I found a shorter version, or I found an online version, and it ended up being the shorter version, which I don't think is that. April is Big Magic, and that's where I was thinking of Elizabeth Gilbert. Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert I'm definitely going to be reading that in April. That's one of my favorite books. But anywho, we're not here to talk about all that. We are here to jump into the latest 2 books that I've read. Let me make sure I'm on the right page. So we're not going to have none of this flipping and flopping and skipping and all that. We got to get better at that, shall. Gotta get better at paying attention. So, here we are. And I'm thinking, so in March 25th, I read The Locked Door by Freida McFadden. So I printed off some stuff here. I'm thinking I can do one page with that. And then in the first week of April, I finished up A Wolf Called Romeo, which was such a sweet story. I have a lot printed off for it, so I feel like maybe I need to do a 2-page spread on that one. I don't have enough for The Locked Door to do 2 pages of that, and I don't have anything. Well, let's just work on The Locked Door for right now, and then we'll figure out what we want to do about Romeo Wolf. So, The Locked Door by Freida McFadden. She's got a lot of books out right now. This is considered a serial killer thriller. I don't read a lot of scary books because I am essentially a single female, and I'm not gonna put my brain into a spot where I'm freaked out about every little noise that comes around my house. I'm not gonna do that. So I don't read a lot of scary stuff. This one wasn't really scary, more so than it was like a mystery. I mean, it was about, I don't want to ruin it, but it was about a serial killer. But it was more mystery about, who is this person and what are they doing? And honestly, it's been March 25th was when I read this, and so it's been a couple of weeks, and I'm not one that remembers books very well, so unfortunately. And out of this, I want serial killer thriller. I don't want the best new, all that. Serial killer thrillers, because that's what it's considered. Okay. Some doors are locked for a reason. See, this is going to be a real simple page. I wonder if I need something more. Something more. Let's see what we have. Anything that speaks to me. There's a little scrap of something. For whatever that's worth. I was looking in here to see what I've got. I've got some of these scraps. Maybe we'll play with that. Do. So, again, Freida McFadden has a good handful of books out right now. I think she's fairly popular. This was kind of a quick read for me. It kept my interest. I did read an audiobook. It did keep my interest. And for me, an audiobook that keeps my interest is one that I want to, if I'm folding laundry, I'll tap it on. Or if I'm in the car, I'll tap it on. Or, if it keeps my interest, then I'll definitely go through an audiobook. And this one kept my interest, so there is that. This was just an image that I found online. Printed it out. This is just a little scrap from a book. It's just kind of cool. Can do that there. And then our serial killer thriller, we can... I don't think it was really a thriller. It's more of a mystery to me. Honestly. I kind of like that though. So let's see. Let's put this guy down. I will check out some more of Freida McFadden's stuff. Again, I think she's got a new one out, like the Death Row or something like that. She's not an author that I keep my eye on. Not for any particular reason. She just, mainly because I don't read scary stuff, and so I don't want to get into a story about a stalker, which this had a little bit of stalker stuff in it. So I was like, better chill out. Better chill out or I'm going to have to abandon you. But it all worked out. It didn't freak me out or scare me. So that was good. I guess I could cut this down a little bit. Do I recommend it? Yeah, it's a good book. If you're into, especially if you're into serial killer thrillers. It was pretty good in that regard. I'm reading a book right now, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna get through it because it's I don't know how to explain it. I guess it's just the writing of it. And, you know, I've read books. I've been a book reader for a long time. And I always hear people talk about, oh, the writing is superb and all this and that. But I've never really paid much attention to that. But in this book, it's like screaming at me. I don't even know what the name of the book is now. But it's about a lady who, just to run down, she's dealing with her dad who has dementia. And he has frontal temporal dementia. And instead of just saying dad has dementia, she's like, dad has FTD, which is frontal. And she says that like, constantly. And it's like, we get it. I get it. I understand FTD is, and it's like, just say he has dementia. You don't have to go into the medical, fine. The first time you say it is fine, but every time you talk about dad and his dementia, you don't have to go into the semantics of how, I don't know. It's just a much. It's just the writing, and it's a little much. Okay, The Locked Door, March 25th was when we finished that. So let me get a little Stampy Doo out. We're going to stamp right down here. March 25th. Okay, so now we got to decide on... I like that. That's cute. I'm really enjoying this. I really need to read a little bit more. I didn't read very much in March, but April is going to be crazy busy for me. So, okay, Romeo. Let's see what we got. A Wolf Called Romeo. This story is a true story about a black wolf in Alaska. And the townspeople called him Romeo because He was a friendly little fella. I can't talk and cut at the same time, so let me fussy cut him out real quick. This big guy. Okay. So the little tagline about the book says, "A wolf in search of a pack, age-old distrust between man and the wild, the beginning of an unlikely friendship." And that was pretty spot on about the story. And you can see, so this guy did a lot of photography of him. Look at that Romeo wolf. He's being all playful like a pup. And he's all chill. And, of course, the picture on the cover is Romeo and a dog. I don't know if you can see it. It doesn't print out that well, but a yellow lab that the author had. And, yeah. So, I loved this little story. It was so sweet, and it honestly taught me a lot about wolves. I guess I never gave them much thought. Now, this is kind of an anomaly. I don't think all wolves are this friendly and playful. I think this is just kind of one of those one-off odd occurrences. But it did tell me a lot about, you know, how they run in packs and how they just a lot about their mannerisms and all that. So that was pretty interesting to learn. This is the Alaskan skylines. Thinking if we have Alaska mountains in the background and Romeo in the foreground, maybe we can squeeze them all onto one. I just thought these were cute. I printed this one out bigger so I could use the words. But I wonder if I can. I think these pictures are very relevant to the story, obviously, because the author was doing photography. But this shows how, like, playful he was. I think we can go with that. I think my best bet is to plunk this down somewhere first. It's kind of crooked because I can't cut straight. Still kind of crooked, but that's okay. This was a good story. I enjoyed it. I think there's several. Again, this was a quote-unquote famous wolf in Alaska, so I think you can certainly Google about him and see tons of photography about him. And I mean, it's like I said, it's based on a real story, so there is that. Taught me a lot about, like I said, the mannerisms and the pack mentality of a wolf, and the politics of wild game, I guess, is another thing that it taught me about. Wildlife management. Did I say that? The politics of wildlife management. I like this down here. I keep putting this down here. And you know, I put the cover of the book on everything, on every page that I do. So that's got to go there somewhere. Maybe this, maybe it's just kind of. That covers up his face. Okay. I keep putting this down here, so let's get that down there for... Okay. I mean, we can do that. Just kind of like a scattering. Can do that. Put his name right there. And then this guy here. We'll just kind of scatter these few up here. Put them a little wonky and all that good stuff. There we go. Trim it off here a little bit. Just a little. Okay. Yeah. like that. I like it like that. I don't think it needs. I mean, I guess I could plunk it down like that and have it off the page. I don't think I'll need these. There we go. Little Romeo. Okay, the date I read this, I finished this one up, was April 6th, so I'll get my little Stampy out again. I recommend this book. If you like wildlife, adventure, things like that, really wasn't adventure per se. I mean, this man kind of gets to know this wolf, and it's routine and all that. So it was a good book, though. I liked it. April 6th. A Wolf Called Romeo. Here we have it. We managed to make it onto one page. So we got 2 books and 1 spread. Yay! Thanks for joining me as I got caught up in my reading journal. I'm still thoroughly enjoying this and loving playing around in this, and I hope to, like I said, it's April now, so I hope to continue on reading a little bit more this month, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.